Hey, so today's video might be quite a bit longer, but we're going to go and look at this. This is the Maketoys Downbeat premium version, which is their take on a masterpiece Generation 1 style jazz. Here's the figure. I adore the car mode. I'm just going to say right off the bat, I think the car mode is the best of both modes. I think it looks awesome. It's pretty solid. It's not the most cohesive. There is a lot of panel lines because of the transformation. So that's a bit of a shame. And it doesn't always want to stick together back here all the time. And there are some parts that I feel like ruin the suspension of disbelief, if that makes sense. Like this part, which is obviously for the robot mode. Some of the underkill, but it's not that distracting. But I feel like this part's a little bit distracting, and this part too. But yeah, this is the car mode. It is solid though. It has some nice weight once it's in this mode, because it's all compact and it feels good in your hand, and it feels good to like roll around. Of course, it has rubber tires, which I hope they don't crack over time, but it seems like good quality plastic. All this, I'll say that, all of it seems like great quality plastic. But yeah, before we get more into that, let's go and look at his accessories. He comes with quite a few accessories. I'm going to get the ones I deem useless out of the way first. He does come with these things for his robot mode, which are supposed to go into the side of his doors. I'm guessing they're for an episode. I haven't seen it. And they're nicely painted purple with some silver. Have some nice sculpted detail in there too. But I never use these, and I have no intention of using these. But they are nice, a nice accessory if you want that. The next accessory he comes that I'm never going to use is his grappling hook, which is just all white plastic. I can get in there. That's a little too white. It does come with this nice little rope, but no paint or nothing. And like I said, I don't plan to use this. If you want this, I know it's from an episode 2. If you want this, you got this. He also comes with 2 face sculpts. This is a more smirky, emoting face. Nicely painted. Has this kind of like creamy gray with a beautiful chrome metallic for his visor. And that looks beautiful. I'm not the biggest fan of the emoting faces, but it's always nice to have options. So here's one. And here's the second one. Just more of like a screaming face. Again, same thing. Nice silver paint or gray, like kind of like creamy gray, along with the chrome blue for the visor. Nice sculpt too. It's just, like I said, about a big fan of these emoting faces. Next, he comes with 2 optional hip skirts, which I do use these. I think they beef them up at the hips a little bit. It looks like there's like speakers sculpted in there. Not too much sculpt work. No paint on them also, but I think they look decent on his hips. We'll get to that in robot mode. And his gun, which is disappointing. It's a typical masterpiece style gun with the pagan system for the hand, but you see no paint on it. The sculpt is okay, but there's no paint on it. It's a swirly plastic and it looks kind of cheapy. I mean, it looks good in his hand, but if you just look at the gun by itself, it looks cheapy because there's no paint and it has that kind of ugly plastic, and it feels kind of cheapy too. He comes with his shoulder mounted rocket. You see this, like, this is the same kind of gray plastic. There's no paint on these. The sculpt is okay, but there's no paint on it, and it's really distracting here. If that would have been some silver or even a chrome finish, that would have been a lot better. And we're almost forming this in, but the last 2 accessories, if you want to call those accessories, he comes with sticker sheets. I don't know what the hell this one's for. I'm not even going to bother. This one's obviously to replace some of his decal work there. This has a very illegal feeling to it. I don't think they're supposed to be putting Porsche and Shell, so I guess that's why they tell you, oh, secret whatever, sticker sheet. So yeah, here's the car mode. There's a decent amount of paint on it. It's predominantly white plastic, but there are like lots of typography places, such as here in the spoiler. You got all the stripes around the 4. Nice blue translucent plastic over some more translucent plastic there, so that's nice. You got some gray here for the grill. Some red here for the bumper. I like the silver and then the gold. The pin is a little distracting, but it's not that bad. Get more striping, more of this. Typography. Got some orange back here for the tail lights. So you can see it has a decent amount of paint details like this right here too. My only complaint is, like I said, I think I've said it earlier. I feel like they went way too hard with all this Agent Meister stuff. It's really distracting. And another complaint is I wish this was darker because you can't see his head right there. But it is a solid, fun car, and I think it's like I said, I think it excels over the robot mode. So I'm gonna transform it. Let's take a quick 360 of the car one more time. I do like all this stuff though. I like that kind of detail and things like that. I just wish it was darker. Quick spin around. I'm gonna transform it and see how this guy's looks. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of the transformation. I think it's a little complicated. So the first thing you want to do is break it there. Kind of start, move this here. Kind of start getting everything out of the way. Open these. Bring that up. Then this part you want to bring this whole piece up, which can be a little complicated too. Yeah, so the way I see this transformation is just break it apart until, you know, you get, there you go. Fold this in. Bring out the head. Fold these out like that. Next thing you want to do is raise this arm, and then you have a transformation very similar to his alternators version. Just bring the arms out. Then you see the slider, you want to slide them back. So bring the arms out, slide them back. These tabs right here, right on top of my thumb, are going to go into there. So go ahead and move this out of the way. Snap those in. Again, make sure the arms are all the way back on the sliders. Fold this in, and then what you're going to want to do is that, here, I'm just going to get everything out of the way. I would say that's another complaint, is I don't like the clearances on this toy. These two tabs are going to go into here. There's this tab right here, so they go into that hole right there. So it's a little tricky to line up. I'm going to do it on camera because I'm crazy. Yeah, there you go. Move aside. There you go. Snap these in. Let's go ahead and put the head down, rest it down. We'll get to the arms later. All this stuff, we'll get to all this stuff later. The upper body's pretty much done. This is where I feel the transformation really sucks, is the legs. It's not super cohesive or nothing, so you just want to make your life easier, break it apart. This whole piece, kind of want to start separating everything. It's a little tough. There you go. Move this out of the way, just like that. Okay, and you want to bring the legs out, move all this stuff out of the way, and just, you don't want to kind of like combiner wars the leg or whatever. So, and that kind of automorphs that piece, so that's a little bit cool. And then just like that, bring this piece. Well, before you do that, go ahead and bring this piece in, slide that around, bring out the foot. Opening that panel. And you're getting my chunky finger in there. Close up that panel. And this is where I think the leg transformation really sucks, is just making sure everything's solid, because it's not really solid. First of all, just get that piece out, just like that. Trying to make it as cohesive as possible. This is going to tab into there, so I'm going to try to do it. Kind of just like that. This is going to tab into that hole right there. So that's pretty much kind of like one leg done. Like I said, it's not very solid, so I'm not going to walk through the next one. I'm just going to do it. Almost 10 minutes in. This is great. You get to see me struggle with Transformers. Okay, there you go. Make sure everything's out. Automorph the leg, which I do think that's still cool. Make sure it's tabbed in. Fold it down. Tab that in right there. Get that piece out as such. Spin this hinge. Make sure it gets in the actual little slider hole. Ugh. Oh, I think I fucked up that. Alright. Go ahead and get his feet out. Close that up. Make sure just all of this is as solid as possible. Yeah, I'm still not the biggest fan of this leg transformation. Get them situated. Oh, next to the arms, just turn them around, pull that in. Just like that. It's not that difficult. Pull that in, turn them around, turn the fist. And last step, raise the camera. And here is the Maketoys Downbeat, or their version of a Masterpiece Jazz. And I think he looks pretty awesome. I know he's super G1, but I really eat this kind of stuff up, like these kind of like toy typography and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and go over the paint that he has, like that kind of shows up in the robot mode. So of course you get this blue. There is red there, but I did put my Repro label on top of there. You do get the head, which is predominantly just plastic, but you do get that nice same kind of paint for the face and for the visor for his head sculpt. So that's really nice. You do get this, in my opinion, I think it's really cool, toy style 80s mechy typography here on his abdomen, here in his legs, and here in his shins. Beautiful silver paint over die cast on the hips, and I like that. It gives it a little bit more weight. And some silver that shows up here in the feet, silver with gray, some silver right there. And pretty much everything else from the car mode. This reveals some more striping when you transform it. Same thing on this side. And everything's pretty much the same. They want you to transform it like this, where you put the wings in, so it looks more G1, but preferably I do like the whole kind of door wings look. It's very Dreamwave, very Reveal the Shield Jazz, and I like that. He does have a nice presence, I'll say that, even though he is a G1 style jazz, and the G1 styles are not always the most visually interesting or, you know, cool mecha-y or nothing. I do like the way he looks. There's something about this that's very, I don't know, classic and cool, in my opinion. Like I said, I do like to get these hip skirts onto his hips, these. So they just plug in, just like that. And just like that. And I like the way that it beefs up his hips and also gives him a little bit more, you know, interesting details visually in robot mode. You can put his gun in his hand, things like that, and it actually fits pretty well. His fingers are articulated, so you just take it in, plug the gun into the hand without struggling like me. And there you go. But like I said, the lack of paint is a little distracting compared to everything that's almost pretty much painted in this. And you do have the option to put a shoulder mounted rocket. The thing is, the connection sucks. It's just this, it's not a peg or nothing, so you just slide it onto right there. So you're really limited. You can't really have his door wings out, which is a shame because he looks super cool with the door wings. And you kind of just slide it on, and it's a big old pain. But there you go. I mean, you can have the door wings, but you're very limited to how much angle and pose you can do to that. But if you want that whole G1 toy look right there, then there you go. So yeah, we went over the paint, but I want to say here it's a little distracting. You see how it's all silver, and then you get some of that bare plastic right there for the ab crunch. That's pretty distracting if you look for it. Yeah, we're almost 20 minutes into the video, so let's just go ahead and go over the articulation. His final thoughts. His articulation, his head is on a ball joint, so you get a nice down, but if you disconnect it from the hinge, you can cheat it to get more down. Same thing with the up, or you can cheat it and get more up. You get some side-to-side movement, and of course it goes all the way around. So the head articulation is great, in my opinion. The arms, they go out to there, but if you go too far, it breaks the sculpt there, but I do appreciate this kind of sculpting. They go all the way around, of course. There is a bicep swivel and a double jointed elbow. Gets you a nice run. Let's throw that on the other side. Double jointed elbow, no problems. And you can adjust it here at the joints to get any kind of angle you want. The wrist swivel there, and no vertical or horizontal hinges, and the fingers do individually articulate, and they're all together. There is a waist swivel, pretty fine. No complaints. There is an ab crunch, and you can utilize the ab crunch with the waist swivel, so that's always welcome. I always love it when it has an ab crunch. That's always extra, so that's cool. You can move the hip scripts out of the way to get nice forward, decent back, a great splay out to the side. There is a thigh swivel built there, a single jointed knee, which I think looks really awkward and ugly. You know, it looks just like a lever. So it's not the best, but it is a decent range. It's almost like a double jointed knee. Or is it a double jointed knee? I can't tell. I'm going to say single jointed, but it might be double jointed. You tell me. You do get an ankle rocker. And you do get forward. And a little bit of back, but the heel gets hindered by all this kibble. So he does have some good articulation. He's a lot more articulated than, you know, the old school Masterpiece cars. And if you wanted to get creative and mess with it, you get some pretty awesome poses. So yeah, here's the Maketoys Downbeat. I think he's an awesome figure, not without its flaws. My biggest problem is the transformation for the legs. It's not fun at all. There, like, you saw me struggle with it, and it took up the most of the time for this video was the transformation for the legs, in my opinion, and the accessories. The accessories are okay. I would have been fine with just the gun and the shoulder rocket and maybe the faces. But I do like these for the hips. I think they look awesome, and like I said, they beef them up and give them a little bit more visual flair. Even though they're not painted, that would have been nice. I am a big fan of these kind of tampos, and I like the amount of paint that is on there. I'm not too worried about, you know, chipping it. I've transformed it a couple times and things like that. Otherwise, for other complaints, I guess. But yeah, just this whole leg part, pretty much, and yeah, that's it. Like those are my only complaints. If you don't like this kind of, you know, style of jazz, there is options for Masterpiece Jazz's, their Generation toy, and the other ones too. Or even if you can find the Reveal the Shield one, it's short, but it's a great toy. But this is also a freaking awesome toy, and if you like the Generation 1 styling, I highly recommend this. And it's not too expensive too. It just looks great. Just try to find a repro label that's actual size. Don't do what I did and get one that's a little, you know, smaller. Doesn't look too bad, but it looks awkward in person. Yeah, this is my look at the Maketoys Downbeat Premium. I hope you like this, and I hope you have a great day.